for Mythic Hungering Destroyer. I'll also be going over just some general stuff, things like how to set up and making sure that we cover everything that you need to know about this fight. So first off, I think the most important thing is to set up your raid frame so that when Gluttonous Miasma debuff, which is the debuff where you can't heal a person, comes on, that it basically grays out that person's health bar or something like this. Or at least makes it so obvious that you don't accidentally heal them. So what I did was I used Voodoo, and if you go under Voodoo's general settings, under indicators, you can set Miasma or Gluttonous Miasma debuff, at least as a mouse over. I guess this is called mouse over, but it'll basically gray out anyone that has that certain buff or debuff. So if you add a bouquet name, or just any name you want to call it, in this case I called it Miasma, and then set the debuff name to Gluttonous Miasma, which is the debuff that Hungering Destroyer puts down, you can make it so that whenever someone gets the Gluttonous Miasma debuff on there, it'll basically gray out their health bar, and you won't be able to see their health, and you will know, hey, I shouldn't heal this person. You could also double check if you did it right, if you just set any sort of buff name, in case you want to make sure that it's set up properly. So in this case, I use Crusader Aura, grays out their health bar. That's also pretty helpful in case you're like in PvP and like you're trying to run quickly to a spot and you want to make sure you don't have Crusader Aura on when you're actually fighting. It's a good way to make sure that you don't make mistakes like that. So you can see here it's grayed out, but if I have another buff or debuff on, you can see that it just shows my general raid frames there. So that's the first thing. Second thing for this fight I found was really important was to set up your healing cooldowns. So there's a spreadsheet out by one of the Mythic rating guilds, high-end Mythic rating guild pieces, and they set up a spreadsheet for assigning and setting up healing cooldowns relative to when abilities and certain abilities come out. For this fight, especially Hungering, it's really important to have classes that have damage-reducing cooldowns that are really strong when you're stacked. So things like Restless Shaman or Disc Priest are really, really good. In particular, Restless Shaman, if you have 2 Restless Shamans, they're really good for using for Spirit Link for the consume phase of the fight, which is where you're all stacked up. And that's because you could split their health of the people with the Gluttonous Miasma debuff with the Spirit Link, which makes it a lot easier to heal through than trying to coordinate people to going into those people that get the Gluttonous Miasma debuff during the consume. It essentially trivializes the Gluttonous Miasma debuff when you have Spirit Link up. If you don't have 2 Restless Shamans, what I'd recommend to do is, if you just have one, use the Spirit Link maybe during the 2nd and 4th consume, and then something like Powered Barrier, AMZ, even Rallying Cry, something that can reduce damage, or a Mastery for each of the consumes. This fight is very healing cooldown centric and will very much test your healer's abilities to press buttons and also just manage the healing cooldowns, I found. So it's really important that you set that up. So the consumes are the most important. The second are the expunges because people are spread out. The desolates are probably the least important of the damage taken, mostly because everyone's so stacked up, it's easy to heal, but during expunges, since everyone's so spread out, it's a lot harder to heal that, so having a damage reducing or any sort of raid cooldown is really important for that. So I set Aura Mastery up because everyone's spread out, it's best using that, and Healing Tides because you can fire it and then spread out, it's pretty easy to do that as well. And yeah, so that's what I would say for general setup, and then I'm going to go over the fight right now. So fight on pull, you can see there's pretty much standard pull. You have 4 stack markers for each group. I am circle, so I hang out in circle. You see the Gluttonous Miasma debuffs go off. Not much to heal. This guy is already at 100, so I kind of just don't stand him or stand near him. I'm kind of just chilling here. He gets hit by the laser. I make sure to stack near him because he took a big chunk of damage there. And now that he's up to full, I moved out. A few people did move out too, so that's good. And we got more lasers, and then the miasma switched. I kind of try to make sure I'm a bit distant. This guy has a huge hitbox, so it's easy for me to DPS while healing. But but I kind of just move around. I make sure I don't get hit by the person that ever gets the gluttonous miasma, and yeah, I just move to the front. Expunges come out. Everyone's topped off, so that's good. We just move out. I actually just pop it close so I could stay near, and I pop mine, and you can see I pretty much didn't take any damage there. So after expunges, you pretty much, your thinking should be, as a healer, I need to, or just a raider in general, I need to get to my miasma target because they're probably going to have really low health. So I get to my miasma target, we heal them up really fast, and we do a really good job. We moved out, and yeah, that's it. So then new markers or new miasmas come out. I move to diamond, and yeah, desolate comes out. I'm gonna need to be topped off. It got down to 20%. You can see the desolate hits for about 30% of my health, which is a lot, but you know, we're all stacked up. I have 2 people here sharing health, so I should be able to get up to full relatively quickly. I even get a 3rd person in there. It's very nice of those people. Shout out to them. And here you could see a bit ago, there was a few people that were really low. What I found is you need to get those people up above 50% in order to be on the safe side. Also, the amount of health you have is inversely proportional to the size of the circle that you put out. So that makes it super important to make sure those people are topped off. So since I'm a pally, what I do, or what I should do, is I use rule of law to increase the range of my heals, and I stay closer to the center so I can spot heal anyone that's pretty low. Everyone here seems pretty safe. I think one of the players have about probably 60% health, so they're going to chunk down quite a bit. But for the most part, everyone gets pretty low, but I heal them back up to full, so that's good. My miasma debuff goes off. I always take a second to check where Mark is at, and then I move out. What you can see here is I get the laser debuff, and there's actually 3 laser debuffs around the same side. We're about to run to the back because he's about to do his consume part. You could see him getting ready for that soon. So I want to make sure I didn't get my laser to hit the back of the raid here, where we're going to stack about here. So I move more to the left so I don't hit this person with miasma. And you can see there's this person here, and they do a good job. I move to the left so I don't hit anyone. This person also moves to the left too, which is really good. Good job from that person there. And move all the way to the back. You can see we get a AMZ and a Spirit Link. Spirit Link is just insanely good on this fight. It is a really strong cooldown. When we top everyone off, we spread out a bit before the miasmas go off so we don't refresh our stacks. And I just try to help heal people when I can. And really for this fight, there is a guy you have to hit, but the first thing you should always do after every single spread out phase is, where's my miasma guy, and does that miasma person need healing because their health is low? And you should focus on that first before you focus on anything else for this fight. That's just not as a healer too, but as a DPS. So you can see here, beams go out, make sure they don't hit miasma targets, which is good. This guy's topped off, so we move out. Very much a personal awareness fight, which I really like. Person's trying to chunk down a bit more. I'm about to move. Oh, this person has 27% health, but doesn't need any healing because the marks changed. Moved out. I try to top people off here. We got a few people that are kind of low, but mostly everyone in this group's topped off. So you just try to heal everyone back up as close to full as possible. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty much rinse and repeat from this point. One thing to note is you could see there are some points where your group might get 3, possibly even 4 people that get gluttonous miasmas. And as a healer, your job is to make sure that the people in the groups are as full health as possible if they're ever having to soak. So you could see that Star, which is this group here, only has really 1 or 2 people that can soak, and this guy actually has a lot of stacks. So what we should do as a healing team or as a healer, one of us should call out, hey, or I'm gonna sack either the guy with Star so that he's taking less damage, or sack the person that's helping share the health. We didn't do a good job of that. Obviously other people could have played better as well. But what I did was, if you saw earlier, when that person got really low, I lay on hands them to top them off. And what you'll see in a bit is I sack them later on. I should have sacked them a lot sooner. That was definitely something I could have done better. And as a healer, you should always be thinking of how I could have done something better to make sure that people aren't as high of risk of dying. But you see, I sacked him there and topped him off. We took a lot of damage for this this part here. But since we're stacked, the expunges don't hit as bad. So you can see here, we tied it here. We're topping everyone off. Again, if I had a choice between Desolate or expunges are a lot harder to go through. Desolate, since we're stacked up, it's pretty easy to heal through once all the raid healing cooldowns come off. So we get it topped off. Some people in my group are kind of low. Start to move out for the consume. Pretty standard stuff here. Nothing much to worry about. We're kind of just chilling. This guy gets super low here. Probably could have done a better job of stacking for that person, or maybe even dipping in to refresh the stacks, but I was at 20, so I didn't want to risk anything. So you can see here, we were spread out. I got the Gluttonous Miasma debuff, and it's really important when you're running in to make sure you don't run into anyone, so you don't refresh your stacks. So I'm like watching, I'm accidentally hit a few people. I'm trying to make sure I don't hit anyone. And I just go to my marker and I just chill there. I get a good wings proc here just for funsies. So I'm just healing people up to full. You see my Aura Master's coming up, so I used it on that ability. Pretty much didn't hit too hard because I used the cooldown. Again, managing cooldown is really important for this fight. You can see the expunges are coming out now. So this guy's dies here. We did a pretty bad job of topping that person off. I probably should have saved Aura Mastery for the expunge. That probably would have been better than to just use it on the Desolate. But that was a healer failure there. That's on all of us, actually. But you know, your job as a healer is to make sure no one dies. And we didn't do a good job there. So that's definitely something we can improve. That person can also use some sort of personal, maybe a health stone or any sort of increased survivability thing to make sure they don't die in there. But you know, it's what it is. It was a progression fight. We did a really bad job here too. We let the tank die. That's a big no-no. I looked at the death log and I did throw some heals on there, but at the time I remember I was thinking, let me just get 3 holy power so that I can Word of Glory this person, get them up to full. But unfortunately, I didn't do it fast enough. That was definitely my bad, especially because that was my group. Definitely something I could have done better. But we had battle res coming up in about 30 seconds, so we were kind of lucky in that we were able to save this this kill. So, but again, always look for opportunities where you could have performed better. And that was definitely one where we should have done something better there. So the tank is, we only have one tank. Beam's coming out, so we just need to top everyone off. Everyone's taking a lot of damage here. You know, but we're getting closer and closer to the end of the fight, so I think it's going to go pretty well. Do some more healing here. Just trying to get everyone in my group first topped off before I move to the next group. I'm especially concerned about the tank, so I'm really focusing him because I know he's not to full. Everyone's pretty topped off here, which is really good. He did a good job there. He also called for a pain suppression there too, so the tank is going to last quite a bit until our second tank gets battle res, Makishima. So lasers come out here, healing him up to full, getting ready for the third consume. Again, Rest of the Shaman, super OP for this fight. Pretty much everyone agrees that it's required to have at least one, preferably 2. And yeah, I'm kind of triggered because this guy, tank, I don't want a tank to die again because that's definitely my responsibility. I get the laser, so I just stand still, let other people move out around me. And yeah, go back to my marker. I know this guy got chunked. You can see we're trying to top him off. I notice his health gets to 100, and I kind of just stay here. I think I was tunneling a bit, but you know, oh, you know what? I had very low stacks, so I wasn't concerned. So anyways, here we go again. Make sure people are topped off during expunges. Pretty much everyone's topped off. I even pop an orb because I wasn't worried. I saw my guy was really low there, 24% health, so I ran to him as quickly as I could. Top him off. The tanks are there too. And this is actually really important too. So you see he's at 58% health, and he just got the laser. He's going to take a lot of damage here, and it's really important as either DPS or healer that you don't let the miasma target die, because not only can they not get healed through it, but the only heals that they can get are from people that are stacking next to them. So what I did is I saw that happening and I positioned myself right along the edge so that I could share my health with him right after he gets lasered. I have 14 stacks of the debuff. That's kind of a lot, but I can heal through that. I'm not worried about that. I can't heal through someone that can't take heals. And that's really important for this fight to understand. Not just as a healer, but as a DPS, that you can't heal the person with miasma unless you're standing next to him. You saw someone earlier have around 30-40 stacks, and I was able to heal through him just by focusing him. But I can't heal through someone, or anyone can't heal through someone unless you're a disc priest that has the miasma debuff. So I stand pretty much next to him. He gets really low, but I was still able to make sure that he stayed alive. And the mark switched too, so that ended up working out really well. I'm really focusing the tanks here. I really don't want a tank to die because that's pretty much a wipe for this fight. I get really low. I get super low, but I am not too worried because I think what happens here is I might pop as personal or something. Yeah, I popped bubble and I started just clearing some marks. I saw he was really low, so I just started running next to him just to make sure he gets topped off. And then I knew I had bubble still, so I just stayed on this guy because I was like, I have bubble, I don't have to worry. This guy moves out. Very good job from him. I just moved to a spot and stayed there. That's what you have to do sometimes, especially if you're the first person there. Don't dance with the person, just move with them. And you can see here with the Spirit Link and the AMZ, it pretty much trivialized that consume. That consume basically did no damage. And yeah, the guy's at 6% health. I know the fight was really close to complete, so I pretty much just stayed on the marker because I was like, I'm not going to let this guy die. I'll just stay on him and make sure that he stays topped off. So we get the next Desolate here. I aura mastered that, and we got the kill. So overall, I thought it was a pretty good kill. Berserk was in 10 seconds, so you could see a very, very lenient fight in terms of damage. Again, healing output and healing cooldown management is probably the most important thing for this fight. This fight pretty much tests your healer's ability to manage and juggle things together. And just in general, I pretty much like this fight. I think it could have been maybe a little bit harder on the DPS check or something, but you know, for a third boss, I think it was fine. I really don't have too much big complaints, and I think it's a very good way to transition into Mythic. I think the first two bosses were kind of just like, okay, here we go, we're starting to get into Mythic, and this fight pretty much is saying, hey, this is Mythic. That means you guys have to be able to do mechanics well as a team. You can't just have a few people doing certain things in order to get past the fight. Everyone has responsibility to achieve the goal of killing this guy, and that's what I think makes this fight pretty good. So I hope this was pretty helpful for you, and if there's any questions or comments, feel free to leave them at the end of the video. All right, bye.